You ever have one of those moments you've got this brilliant idea, you know it's a game changer, but when you finally get in front of senior leadership, it just falls flat? Crickets. You get those blank stares. It is so frustrating, and it happens all the time. But here's the thing. Getting heard at the top isn't just about what you say, it's all about how you say it. So let's dive in and crack the code on how to really communicate with impact.
First up, we're going to talk about the promotion blocker. To really get this, we're going to start with a bit of a cautionary tale. It's a story about a manager who had, all the right ingredients for success, except for one pretty crucial one.
You know, it's a question that drives a lot of us crazy. Why do these incredibly smart, talented people seem to hit a ceiling in their careers? To figure this out, I want to introduce you to someone named Robert. Trust me, his story is a lesson you won't forget.
So, if you looked at Robert on paper, he was the absolute perfect candidate to move up. The guy was super smart, he knew his industry inside and out, and his team, they adored him. He should have been on the fast track, just skyrocketing up the ladder. But he wasn't. His career had just completely stalled out, and he was stuck watching his peers get the promotions he wanted. So what on earth was going wrong?
Well, the whole mystery became crystal clear to me in one single meeting. When it was Robert's turn to present, he started at the very beginning. He walked us through every single step of his thought process, every detour, every little detail. He just went on and on and on. And you could literally feel the energy just drain out of the room. People started looking at their phones, just completely zoned out. And this is the real tragedy of it all. His final recommendation? It was fantastic. Genuinely a brilliant, insightful idea. But you know what? It didn't matter. Not one bit. Because by the time he finally got to his point, he'd already lost the room. He had the right answer, but the delivery was all wrong. And it just proves that even the best idea is totally worthless if nobody's actually listening.
Okay, so that's the problem. But the good news is, this is totally fixable. Being a great communicator isn't some gift you're born with. It's a skill, and you can learn it. So technique number 1 is all about this idea of tuning your style so you can really connect with your audience.
So, what do I actually mean by tune your style? Well, it means you've got to stop focusing on how you like to communicate and start thinking about how your audience prefers to get information. Let me give you another real-world example. There was this marketing director who was just constantly struggling to get his ideas approved.
And right here, you can see the problem. It's a total clash of styles. The marketing director, he was a classic creative guy. Big ideas, lots of passion, but kind of all over the place. His boss? She was the complete opposite. All about process, frameworks, structure. She needed to see the logic, the path from A to B. So to her, his creative pitches, they just sounded like unstructured noise.
The big breakthrough happened when he finally realized he had to start speaking his boss's language. So instead of just pitching some cool, abstract idea, he started presenting it inside a bigger strategic framework. He showed her how his creative idea fit into the larger business goals she cared about. And bam! Suddenly she got it, and he started getting his projects approved. See, he didn't change his ideas, he just changed the packaging.
All right, this brings us to our second technique, and this one is a direct solution to that rambling problem we saw with Robert. It's a simple but really powerful formula to bring some serious clarity to your communication, especially when the pressure's on.
Okay, this 3-step method is an absolute game changer. Write this down. First, lead with your recommendation. Do not bury the lead. Senior leaders are incredibly busy people. Just tell them the answer right up front. Second, back it up with just 2 or 3 of your most critical supporting points. This is not the time for a massive data dump, okay? It's about giving them just enough proof to be convincing. And finally, and this is so important, practice saying it out loud. It helps you find those awkward spots and build your confidence so you deliver it smoothly.
You know, the real beauty of this formula is that it forces you to be concise. It shows respect for your audience's time and attention, which, by the way, is one of the fastest ways to earn credibility with senior leaders. When you get right to the point, you're signaling that you understand what's important, and that makes them way more likely to actually listen to what you have to say.
Okay, so now you've got 2 really powerful techniques in your back pocket. But look, just knowing them is only half the battle. The real change happens when you actually put them into practice. So let's talk about the single best way to get started. Before we jump into the solution, we have to talk about the biggest mistake people make when they learn something new like this. They try to change everything all at once. They'll try to tune their style and use the three-step formula and think more strategically all in the same week. Then what happens? It's totally overwhelming and they just give up.
So here's the secret. The key to making real, lasting progress isn't about doing everything. It's about doing one thing. Just one. So just look at this list for a second. Your job right now is to pick just one of these to focus on for the next couple of weeks. Maybe you decide, okay, I'm going to consciously practice that get-to-the-point formula before my next big meeting. Or maybe it's about building your self-awareness by asking for honest feedback after you present something.
And that's really the main takeaway here. It honestly doesn't matter which one of these you choose. What does matter is that you commit to one, and you practice it, deliberately, consistently. It's those small, focused efforts that create huge, long-term change in how you communicate and, more importantly, how you're perceived.
So, as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with this question. Just think about your week ahead. Think about the meetings you have, the one-on-ones, the emails you have to send. Which single conversation are you going to approach differently now that you've learned this? That's where it all begins.